Oscar BEVIS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I'm here in Liverpool for Callum Smith, John Ryder Fight Week, joined by my good friend Dave Coldwell. How are you, sir? You right?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited because I turned up earlier and I feel like with big fight nights in London, people come out, yeah. But with Liverpool, I feel like they all come out like Carragher, Bellew, just knocking about. And obviously I know Bellew's got Craig Glover, but it feels like it sort of brings all the scouts out.
They love the fighting up here. Love the boxing. It's always a good night. Just saying, we've had a lot of good nights across the road at the it used to be the Echo. It's now the M&S Bank, isn't it? It'll always be the Echo to us.
You've got Anthony Fowler.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's a fight that obviously Anthony needs to win, and it, on paper could be a good fight. We don't know too much about Harry Scarf, but added a little bit of needle there with the missed handshake.
Do you know what? I think that's Clifton. That's Clifton Mitchell's his trainer. I think that's Clifton being a bit mischievous, telling him to, show him his means business and he's, not pally, and so I think that's Clifton behind that. Either that or, it's something to do with some dodgy CBD that Fowler sold him or not sold him, one or two.
So didn't you put on Twitter because he didn't bring him
a
complimentary bottle of CBD?
He's about the only person in the world that he's not sorted out CBD with.
Well, Andy Ruiz is taking his clients now, isn't he? So
yeah, he is.
What do you know about Harry Scarf then? Obviously, he had that fight with Jack Flatley where he won the English title, but apart from that, sort of...
It's a good fighter.
Fairly unknown?
He's unknown because he's not a TV promoter's fighter. He's been working away at the on the smaller shows, learning his craft. It seems like your Josh Warringtons and your people like that. Just because fighters aren't automatically making their debuts and early fights on TV and with Eddie or Frank Warren or the big name promoters, doesn't mean they're not good fighters. And he proved that in his fight with Jack Flatley. Went up there, backyard, unfazed, put on a great performance. He's awkward, he's tricky, he knows how to hold, he knows how to turn, he knows how to switch. He's kind of like Fowler's worst nightmare. But
he must have boxed a lot of people in the amateurs with sort of an awkward...
Yeah, you could say, but then you could say he's boxed people with Fitzgerald style in amateurs.
Yeah.
But, amateurs 3-5 rounds is completely different to professionals and smaller gloves, no wide guard and just the whole professional setup. It's a different sport. And I think Fowler's got that now, or he understands that now. Whereas before, he'd feel that he was, because he boxed at elite level in the amateurs, he felt that he was, not so much ready, but he felt as though he was prepared for the elite levels or the higher levels in.
So he overlooked the early level.
Yeah. And I think the Fitzgerald fight was good for him because it taught him a lesson. It doesn't matter how. It's like when you have a kid and you tell your kid that don't touch that plate, it's hot. 9 times out of 10 will touch it. Just what is it? And they'll burn the finger.
Do it once and never again.
Yeah, and you can tell a fighter. It's very hard when somebody's had 200 odd amateur fights and they've boxed at such a high level against such good quality opposition, and then when they're boxing at domestic level, you can tell them about the dangers, you can tell them not to be complacent and stuff like that. But subconsciously or consciously, it can sometimes be a little bit hard for them if they're that kind of person where they can get carried away themselves. It can be a little bit hard for them to actually heed the sort of warning signs until they get burnt. And then when they get burnt, then they go, oh, okay, reevaluate, take stock, if they're mature enough. And Fowler's shown a lot of maturity in himself because he has looked at, and I've made him watch the fight and keep watching the fight, because in order to progress, you have to understand where you went wrong, and in order to improve on those, and stop making those mistakes happen again, you have to watch and recognise. You have to recognise and understand, yes, I did do this wrong. Yes, I wasn't invincible like I thought I was going to be, and you can learn from that and move on. If you just ignore it, then it's going to happen again sooner or later, And that's another reason why I wanted to go straight in against somebody like Brian Rose. he was scheduled to box an 8-rounder, but we wanted a proper fight. And then when the call came to fight Brian Rose, it was like straight away, like, yep, because it's a fight that he's going to learn from. His early doors fights, because the level that he boxed at in the amateurs, he didn't really learn anything from the early fights. It's the fights where the guys come trying to win, you learn from. You learn more from the fights where the guys come expecting to win. So Fitzgerald, Brian Rose, and now Harry Scarf expected and are expecting to beat Fowler. So they're the kind of fights that he's learning from, and I'm seeing that in the gym. I'm seeing how he's becoming a little bit more mature now. Getting some great sparring with Liam Williams. Had some rounds with Billy Joe Saunders, which were fantastic. Down at Team GB with their setup, has been getting some great sparring. You can see him maturing now as a fighter. And so in hindsight, the Fitzgerald loss, it's not a bad thing. I always say, as long as you learn from it, it's not a bad thing. If you don't learn from it, it is. It's horrendous, but he's learning from it.
I said this to Eddie, and I said it to Anthony as well. Obviously, you know him better than Eddie would as well. So, has it been hard for him in the fact that going into the Fitzgerald fight, he had the amateur background, he was more high profile, and there was all of this needle, and it was sort of almost shameful for whoever loses, all this bigging it up, and the fact that now they're talking about getting a rematch, it will be in Fitzgerald's backyard. Has it been something that's been quite hard for him to sort of suck up and take in?
No, I don't know. It was hard after he got beat, because if you're gonna chat shit, or if you're gonna get into a slanging match with somebody, then
you've got to win.
It doesn't matter if it's tennis, snooker, ping pong, or boxing. It's like football when two managers go at it or something. You know, it becomes a more high stakes and high pressure. So those two went at it, and they went at it big, and Fitzgerald was the one that ended up winning, and the one that loses, it's embarrassing, and the world feels like it's on top of you, and you just want that hole to open up in the ground for you to just crawl into. But you have to face, and respect to Fowler is that he faced it. He could have just shut off on Twitter. Some fighters do that, don't they? Some fighters that
he did front it up, yeah.
You know, he fronted it straight away, and he took it like a man. He's always going to get bullshit. You're always going to get people piping up about it, because that's just human nature. As soon as you get beat, or as soon as you show a fault, people are going to, whatever you pipe up with, people are going to come back to you with that. Doesn't matter. He could go on and win a world title, and somebody will always pipe up.
But
Scott Fitzgerald smashed you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just what it is. But he's handled it well. The Deepdale, is it Deepdale? Deepdale, yeah.
Deepdale, yeah.
The Deepdale thing don't make any difference, because it doesn't count for anything, because it's all hypothetical. It doesn't mean shit until after Saturday.
Yeah.
And as for him having to go, yeah, because Fitzgerald had to come here, and Fitzgerald won. So Fitzgerald won, so why should he have to come here again? You know, take yourself up there. That's a whole thing of the fact that you got beat. If you'd have won, if you don't like it, win the fights. If you'd have won, you'd had it back here, and it was a good fight and everything. You had a rematch. Scott had to come over here, but Scott won, so it's only right that he gets his big night in front of his fans, and you know, Fowler's got to go into the Lions' Den, so to speak. But don't count for shit, because Saturday night, if he doesn't beat Harry Scarf, he's fucked, and that's why right now it doesn't make no difference to Fowler. He's not feeling, you know, upset about that, or you know, pissed off about that, because he is genuinely focused on Saturday night. He's made that mistake before. He's done that where he's thought about what's coming on afterwards, and he got beat. And so one thing about Fowler is like I said, he's matured, and he is fully focused on Harry Scarf.
One thing that a lot of people have said on social media, we love a bit of social media chat, that's where it all goes on.
That's where it's at, isn't it? I mean, otherwise, what you're going to do, talk about in your own circle, people that are in your own space,
yeah.
And that's it, conversation's dead. Social media opens that to everybody around the world, and everybody's got an opinion, haven't they?
Exactly, and one thing that I noticed a few people saying is, if you look at Eddie Hearn signing on guys who've had great amateur careers, guys with Olympic backgrounds like Buatsi,
yeah.
Anthony Fowler, Joe Cordina, and sort of they have a pathway.
Yeah.
So they'll say they'll win their first few fights, they might get a Commonwealth or British, and they'll sort of. And Anthony's was stopped by Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
So if he was to have beaten Fitzgerald, be it close, be it not close, would Fitzgerald have got the rematch?
It was a good fight. It was quite, if it's a good, hard, close fight, and there was that needle and that clash between personalities, then yeah, I don't. I've seen a few people say, "Oh, you wouldn't have given him," but if it had been the other way around, then why not? Because it's a big fight. It's going to sell. Don't get me wrong. If Scott's got no personality, and it doesn't sell a ticket, and nobody be interested in a rematch,
You move on.
then
Yeah.
you move on, because then it's like, well, what do you need that for? It's like, what's the point? It's a tough
Yeah.
fight. You get no kudos for it. Nobody gives a shit about it. What's the point? But that fight, because of their personalities, is always big. It doesn't matter if it's a win, loss, or a draw. Those two, as long as it's close and competitive, they can go again. And it was close. But I've heard people say, "Oh, Fowler were robbed." Bollocks. I've heard people saying Fitzgerald smashed Fowler. Bollocks. Fowler didn't get smashed, and he didn't get robbed. It was a close fight, and Fitzgerald won. And for me, he did win. The right man won on the night, but it was a close fight, and it was a good fight. Go back to that fight for two young kids at the stage of their career that they're at. That's a really good fight. So why not have a rematch? Yeah, it sells. So why not?
And he's forming that little. It was a triangle at first when sort of there was talk about Ted Cheeseman as well. Then obviously when he fought Kieran Conway for the British, some people saying Kieran Conway deserved a rematch for that. So there's sort of a little domestic chunk of fighters now in there,
It's good,
where
isn't
you
it?
could literally make 4 or 5 good fights
Yeah.
either way.
It's good. I think it's right now. Top of the pile's got to be Fitzgerald, because he's faced Cheeseman, he's faced Fowler, and he's standing on top of the pile.
What do you make of the Cheeseman fight?
It's a weird one, that one. When I was watching it live, I actually scored it a draw, but I thought, if anybody, I lent to Cheeseman. I think there was 1 or 2 rounds where I couldn't quite split them. But watching it on the night, I had the feeling that Cheeseman won. Then I watched it back on TV, and I thought Fitzgerald won. So it was one of those fights. It was a good fight. Again, that's a fight that you could go again. You could watch it again. And you couldn't argue if there were a rematch. I kind of.
So you wouldn't sort of buy the. I mean, after the fight, Ted Cheeseman was distraught. He thought that he'd
I saw
been
that. It
completely
weren't
robbed.
nice to see. Yeah, it weren't
He
nice
thought
to
he'd
see.
been completely robbed of the fight.
I don't think either of them got robbed.
It was just close. but, yeah.
This is the thing. When you've got two fighters in there that evenly matched, and they both give it everything, it's a good fight and it's a close fight. If it's a close fight, it's a strong word to say robbed.
It's overused now, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is overused, yeah.
If there's a close decision that doesn't go your way, you're robbed automatically. You're robbed. You're not. You lost a close decision, and that's how I see it. It's one of those. If you've got people that are all sat around the ring, and everybody's got mixed opinions on it, and you're sat in the same vicinity watching it, you've got some people saying that one man's won, some saying the other man's won, a few others go, could be a draw, That's a fucking close fight.
Yeah.
That's a good. Do you know what? That's probably a good fight as well, because it's not just one man just dominating. But I don't think that's a robbery. A robbery is when you've absolutely pissed it and you don't get it. And I just thought on the night, I thought Cheeseman won it. I thought I thought it was a draw. I scored it a draw, but I thought if anything, I thought maybe Cheeseman by 1, but that was it. And then I went back and I watched it back, and it's strange sometimes. Fights do look different on TV to what they are
100%.
ringside. And some people don't get that. They don't understand that. But everybody's got.
I didn't get that till. I mean, I used to go to the odd bit of boxing
Right.
when I was a fan, but I didn't get that till I started going to a lot more boxing, especially sitting close, and you genuinely don't realise until you watch it back on TV and you're like, wait, was that even the same fight?
Yeah. So sometimes you can as well, because you're in the moment, and you might have a vested interest in a fighter or something, and you're watching that fight, and you might think he struggled, or you might think, oh, that was a bit closer than what I thought. Then you go home and you watch it, and you think, fucking hell, I pissed it.
Yeah.
What was I worrying about? Do you know what I mean? But that's boxing. That's how it is. It's just that the problem is that if you don't agree with me, then you get all fucking aggy about it and aggressive about it. And that's how people are on Twitter. Just because people don't agree, or you can't just say, well, I had it the other way. No, they have to get like really vindictive about it and really personal about it, just because you see a fight a different way, and they're scoring it like they might score it like by 2 rounds. You definitely won that fight. Well, 2 rounds is quite close, because if you just give one of them rounds the other way, then do you know what I mean? It changes dimensions. It's just how people are, really. You just have to go with it, because that's part of sport. It's part of boxing, and that's how it's going to be.
Talking of robberies, was Logan Paul robbed? Did you watch it?
What, did I watch it live or did I watch it after?
You didn't watch it live. I know you didn't. I know you didn't watch it live.
No. So there's no way on this planet that I was going to pay $9.99 to watch that. It's $9.99. It's cheap, right? It's only a tenner, right? But
can you understand why it was a pay-per-view, like a $9.99 pay-per-view event?
Yeah, because they have got a massive fan base. I totally got their top-up bill, and I get that, because
you wasn't setting any alarms.
This is the way boxing is, right? Is if you're a draw, you're bringing money to the table, so you deserve to get more money than somebody that's not bringing anything to the table. That's kind of like business. It's kind of like anything. So I understood the whole them two being top of the bill thing. The thing that I was saying is if the fighters, Billy Joe, Devin Haney, 2 world champions, if they haven't got a problem with boxing on the undercard, then I don't see why I should have a problem with boxing on them boxing on the undercard. I shouldn't have a problem, because they're getting a bigger payday because on a bigger show, or a show that's generating more money. They're getting another day or whatever. They ain't got a problem with it. So it is what it is. The problem that I had with it is that although it's only $9.99, to me personally, did I want to see that fight bad enough for me to A, stay up until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and B, pay $9.99? So I looked at the show. If Billy were fighting a good opponent that I thought was going to be a good fight, I'd be tempted at a tenner. Plus Devin Haney. Devin Haney is a pay-per-view fighter for me yet. Not in that fight against that guy, no. So because those 2 fights weren't fights that I was willing to stay up so late for and then be tired next day for and to pay a tenner for, I thought, nah, fuck it. I'm certainly not paying for KSI and Logan Paul, because that's a white collar fight that's now just a professional fight because he went and got a license. So I weren't interested in that. I could always catch that on YouTube or something else.
Have you watched it on YouTube since?
So I watched the free bit on Sky, 12 o'clock till 2 o'clock it were live.
Right, yeah.
Free undercard bit. Watched a bit of that. All right. I'm a bit bad for this. I don't sleep much anyway. But I got to it, and I dad my daughter, oh, get it, Dad, because she knows about this KSI and Logan Paul and stuff like that. So I'm like, no, I'm not. If you want to watch it, then you can pay me. Give me a tenner, and I'm not paying a tenner for them. So it got to 2 o'clock when it's just about to go encrypted, and there was a split second when I thought, fuck, it's only a tenner. Shall I do it? And I thought, no. Then I went to bed. So it come on, I think, a couple of days. It came onto Sky, and I watched it. And I watched the whole show, and I thought, thank fuck I didn't pay for that.
You're not impressed?
No. And as for him saying that
could beat some professionals, you're gonna say.
He's putting a complaint and shit like that.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Come on. They should, fair enough, stick to their own level, fight a celebrity and stuff like that, fair enough. But you know that shit talk beforehand now, these guys are going to, be champions and all that sort of shit. Go to bed.
So sort of in the whole celebrity boxing idea. I mean, Eddie
Yeah.
said that he's had a message from someone who wants to fight KSI, who is like an
course he has.
A-list to like a serious.
Of course he has, because if you're an
A-list
A-list fighter, an A-list actor or a celebrity who's a bit fit and thinks he can do a little bit, goes on a bag a bit, you'd watch them two and think, oh,
Especially when you watch it, yeah.
and you're just thinking about that. Fucking hell. I bet Bieber was sat there fancying it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, he probably doesn't need the money, but I'm sure he had a look and thought, I could hold myself in there. Yeah. Right, the real stuff.
Yeah.
Wilder-Ortiz. Ortiz looks in incredible shape, by the way, for a man of 75 years
Mate, he's been on that youth juice. That's what he's been on. He's sipping some kind of Kool-Aid. Mate, I saw that picture that came out this week and the footage of him. I thought, what? He usually looks about 175 years old. Right now, it looks like a man in his 40s. Ish. Maybe 50.
Yeah.
But bodies don't win fights. It's very hard when you don't see them train. It's very hard to think, oh, can he be better than what he was last time? You know, it's what, 18 months since the fought, is it? Something like that.
Yeah.
It's over a year. He's aged even more.
That does seem to be a thing that a lot of people are sort of alluding to, the fact that people saying, was he a bit too old the first time?
Yeah.
Well, he's even
I think
older.
it cost him because he was a bit too old the first time. Now he's even older. Now he's going to have even more wear and tear on his body. And it looks like he's worked very hard. But until you see him sparring, you don't understand, you don't see whether the timing's off, whether they're sparring old, whether they look old. Fighters, when they age, you can see in sparring, you can see in the preparation. And if he's slowed down just that fraction, then he's more open to getting nailed by Wilder. And Wilder nails you with that straight right hand on the southpaw. Boom, good night. He's always had ability and he's always been a good fighter, but he's 175 years old, and it can look great, but you can't. Well, it's very hard to turn back the clock and perform like you're a young man. And I think Wilder. I think I saw something where I saw Eddie say something that he thinks that Wilder's looking past him and stuff like that. I don't think so. I think Wilder knows what he's got in front of him because he got rocked. He got rocked to his boots.
It could have been stopped, that fight.
Yeah.
100%.
He got rocked to his boots. And so I think Wilder will look at this and want to go out there in a kind of the way that he did with Stavern in the rematch, and just go out there and blast him and get rid of him. I think he'll take him seriously. And also, listen, if you were looking at him a little bit, he's just an old man, I'll beat him once, I'll beat him again. But then you start seeing the pictures how he's trained, he's obviously worked hard. You would then give you the kick up the backside to think, right, I need to switch on for this guy. And I think he will. And I think it'll be exciting. And the thing is, with Wilder, he could get rocked. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a little bit of a gunslinging match to start off with. But ultimately, when Ortiz puts his hands together and fires, I think he'll be that fraction a bit slower, and that'll leave Wilder the gaps.
I mean, he's quite a quick turnaround if he's going to fight Fury on February the 22nd. It is sort of almost jumping with Ortiz. Let's say he does come through with no injury, a week's rest and back in camp, or I don't know, it seems like quite a quick turnaround.
Yeah, but you're saying that, but it's like...
Or are we just used to fighters now fighting twice a year?
I was going to say to you, these days, go back a few years, fighters didn't have 12-week camps, 10-week camps and shit like that. Champions didn't have that long in between fights. Wilder's just being a professional fighter. He's like, okay, I'll have a couple of weeks off, I'll get straight back in.
Should be celebrated, I suppose,
Yeah, should be questioned. And he doesn't strike me as a guy that gets fat, gets out of shape. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't think it's the problem that I think it's a modern day new age sort of problem where people are making excuses for fighters having he's not had 12 weeks, not had 10 weeks. Go back a few years. Fighters didn't have 10 week, 12 week. Now you've got kids that are doing 4-rounders wanting 8-week camps. What? It's just be a professional fighter. Have a couple of weeks off, get back in gym, tick over, get a phone call, got a fight date, okay, let's crank it up.
Pretty different preparation for Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
He's done absolutely everything,
He smashed it.
I'll tell you what, I have to say Top Rank have done an unbelievable job with Tyson.
But listen, Top Rank have been the best promoters in the world for years. And when I'm saying that, I mean developing fighters, bringing fighters through. Go back years, the 80s, before that even. But I know them. I know of them. I'm seeing what they did from the 80s, and that takes some doing. That does, and they've been brilliant year after year. They know how to build the fighters, both in the ring and out of the ring, and they've created an absolute monster and a superstar. He's absolutely smashed it. Whoever came up with the idea for Tyson Fury to do that WWE stuff, fucking genius.
And then make a Christmas single after. And
Yeah.
constantly, it seems like Fury's face is always on TV
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, he's smashing it. It really
He
is.
yeah.
Really is. Can't knock him. If you're knocking him, you're jealous. Simple as that. Can't knock it. Whether you're a fan of Fury or not. Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of watching his fights and stuff. I've all the way through his career, I've never been a massive fan of him, but I like what he's done and where he's come from, especially over the last couple of years. I'm a fan of his because of that. From where he's come from to where he's gone to. Brilliant. Even if it had just come from that, had those 2 warm-up fights, then walked away again, he climbed mountain from doing that, from being the shit. It reminded me. I saw a split picture of what he was to what he is now. Fucking hell, that takes some doing. And when you hear about stories about how low he got, mate, he's an inspiration to anybody. So, regardless of his previous stuff and how he used to carry off and stuff like that, because he's matured now. He's not like he was, the stuff that used to come out with him. You'd be afraid to even mention his name in case he turned on you back in the day. He's matured a lot now, and that sort of stuff I wasn't a fan of, and I weren't particularly a big fan of his fighting career at that point. But then how he's turned himself around, it's been brilliant. And you look at what he did with Deontay Wilder, great, and the WWE stuff has been massive. Now he's put that to bed. Now he'll focus on Wilder. Wilder comes through Ortiz, then we've got another great night to look forward to.
Just quickly before I ask you about Fury Wilder 2, do you think now that Fury's on par with Joshua in terms of being a celebrity outside of the ring? Because Joshua was always like a brand as well as a fighter.
Do you know what? It's not. We shouldn't really be having a contest about who's the bigger name.
Yeah, it's not
and
a
all that
contest,
bollocks.
but it counts.
But 100%, he's huge.
Yeah.
This WWE thing that he's done, is fucking huge. I'm not a wrestling fan, and I can't get my head around these grown ass men being so excited about wrestling.
American men are absolutely obsessive.
It's not just American men. There's some people that I know and I'm good mates with that are just nuts over
Dave
WWE.
Allen.
And I'm like, is he?
Dave Allen's a big wrestling night, yeah.
Well, but I don't get it because it's fake. Oh, and if
But
you say it's fake, then that's it. They kick off right.
But it is massive,
But
isn't
it's
it?
massive,
Huge,
and it's opening him up to such a massive audience. And now he walks down the street, he's getting mobbed. So yeah, he's on par. He's on par with AJ. And do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if right now, because he's hot right now in America, if he's a little bit in front when it comes down to publicity stake, because the job that they've done on him on the publicity side of things is unbelievable. But ultimately, things like that come and go. It's your bread and butter. And right now, you have to say, Anthony Joshua's been undisputed heavyweight champion. Not undisputed, he's been unified heavyweight champion, sorry. He's done it in a small amount of fights, really. And he's now involved in one of the biggest heavyweight fights we've seen for years. So on a boxing sense, he's in front of Tyson Fury. Because he's achieved. Yeah. Fury's done brilliant from where he's come from. He's been champion, beat Vladimir, gone away for a couple of years. Because he's gone away for a couple of years, you can't count. You can't say, oh, he's on a par boxing side of things.
Yeah.
Now he's come back, and what he's done with Deontay Wilder is fantastic. He's put himself right back up there. But it's still not. He's not, for me, ability-wise and potential-wise right now, I would say he is the best heavyweight on the planet right now. I think you have to say that. But it's like he's blowing hot and cold. So against, obviously had the 2 warm-up fights, didn't look anything. Against Wilder looked great, and against the last couple of fellas he's boxed, and looked great again. So he's up and down, and down. Joshua's had one bad night. So right now, boxing sense, I think they're both around there right now. the Klitschko fight for me, what Tyson did, it wasn't an exciting fight, but he absolutely got into Vladimir's head, did a job on him, got all the titles, and then just didn't handle it well. And that, if it's just a shame that period happened after that fight, because he could have been just even bigger. It could have been so much bigger. But it's by the by.
We may have had Joshua Fury by now, because
I
we've
think
got to remember that Joshua
yeah.
won the IBF because of the way the belts
I think we
split.
would have. I think we would have. But being honest, and when you think about it, if you look at the path that Fury's gone down now, because he's now so much bigger personality, and he's so much bigger name. Please God, AJ beats Ruiz, and if Tyson beats Wilder in rematch, which I think he will, then that is the biggest fight ever. You know, that is huge. That is just huge, and that then shows you that the path they've both gone, where Tyson's had his troubles, Josh has been beat. They've both come back from that to become champions and fight each other. For the pair of them, it's unbelievable.
That is mega.
That would be unbelievable. Really would be.
Do you think Tyson will beat Deontay for a second time? Should I say?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I really do.
Do you think it will be easier than before?
It's always dangerous because of Wilder's
Yeah.
punch power. But what I said at the time, I was worried that it just came too soon for him because he had the timeout. He had 2 nondescript fights, and then went straight in against Wilder. And my worry for him was, still going to be a bit rusty, not going to have that competitive edge at that level. Will that cost him? Well, if that cost him, and he got a draw when he should have got a win, then for me, those rounds in the bank with Wilder is just going to make him a better fighter. And
Surely that equalises for Deontay as well, in the fact that he knows that he can't let Fury sit there and jab his head off. He knows that he has to go for it.
He has to go there, go out there swinging.
20 seconds left around 12, yeah.
Yes, I think for the first fight, I thought for Wilder to win, he had to go out there swinging. If he tried to box with Fury, he's got no chance. He has to go out there bombing. And yeah, that gives him every chance to do it. That's the thing with Wilder, is he can knock anybody out. But I just think that Fury has got his number. And I think that he will be a better fighter because of that. He's had more rounds. He's kept his body in physical shape for longer. I mean, it's consistent. You know, since he's come back, he's got himself into shape. He's not let himself go. You know, it's him ticking over. Yeah, he's had some fun with wrestling, but he's still training. He's on it. So I just think that as a vehicle, his body's helping him to go out there and put on another great performance against Wilder, I think.
Okay, well, the heavyweight division is definitely buzzing. Are you going to be in Saudi Arabia?
Might be, yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Wait, do you know something, or
I just might be, yeah. I weren't going to.
Late edition for Hopey Price on the card?
I just might go across.
You've definitely... Have I forgotten you've got someone on the card? Am I going mad?
No, I haven't got anyone on the card.
Oh, right.
But I just might go across. I might.
Okay.
I wasn't going to, but I think I will do. I think I might do.
Do you buy this whole sort of Saudi Arabia will become an entertainment capital? Or do you feel like... Because I'll be honest, personally, I feel like this to me feels a bit like a one-off event. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, but it feels like something of this magnitude in Saudi Arabia. I know we had Khan, Billy Dib, whatever, but something of this magnitude in Saudi Arabia won't happen again.
Well, entertainment-wise,
they had the WWE, actually.
Yeah, WWE's been there. David Guetta's been there. Has UFC been there yet? It will do.
UFC's been everywhere, so probably.
I think on entertainment, I get what they wanted to do. They wanted to compete with Dubai. They wanted to outdo Dubai.
Yeah.
So somebody's come along with shitloads of money and said, here you go, put this here, pay you this. So it makes sense. I understand. It's about money. It's not about fucking opening doors in Saudi or caring about what Saudi people think about boxing. It's about money, and why not? It makes sense if you're going to earn shitloads more for boxing over there than you are for over here.
Still a ring, isn't it?
They might do exactly. A ring's a ring. So Is it a one-off? Depends if another backer decides they want another event out there or not. So we'll see. But the fight itself is such a massive event. It's such a huge event because of what happened the first time around. If Joshua had won and it had been a close decision or something, would they have put in money to stage it? Would
No
they
way.
have?
Yeah.
It's only because Joshua got beat and the rematch is massive that they've paid what they have done to have it over there.
What fight could you sort of go back to that since this? Right, I'll try to word this correctly. Right, what's the last fight that was of this magnitude in this country in terms of the press coverage and the way that people are looking forward to it, etc.? Like, what fight can you? For me personally, I'd say something like Foxgroves 2, maybe. Like a magnitude of a fight and the way it's being covered in this country. Because obviously Joshua crosses to that casual boundary as well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'm trying to think. When I was involved with hey, Klitschko maybe.
Yeah.
That was a big one. I mean, that was nuts. That was, and we had a lot of people go over to Germany for that actually. I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say. But this is bigger. But in terms of how
Do you think because of the manner he lost as well, that obviously helps, didn't it? Yeah.
Because it's Anthony Joshua. This is much big. This is the biggest. I think this is the biggest fight in terms of how people are talking about, looking forward to it, controversies, all sorts of different angles of people talking about that I can remember, because Anthony Joshua is the biggest brand in boxing that I can remember that got done in such a way that we're now all wanting to see how he comes back. You got to remember, this is a man that if you go to New York, you'll see his face. If you go to LA, you'll see his face. Billboards, sports shops, all sorts. His face is everywhere. He's known everywhere. He's huge. And he was champion, and then he got blasted out. That's what happened. It wasn't just it wasn't just a lucky punch. It wasn't just a controversial decision or a close decision it was dramatic. It was such. I can't remember being as shocked or watching something as visually shocking as that since watching Mike Tyson sprawl around on the floor for his gum shield. That's what sticks in my mind. I mean,
it's definitely the most shocking thing I've seen. Like, shocked by a result I've been in my lifetime. Yeah.
But don't get me wrong. It's not the case that, because we all said beforehand. Well, not we all. A few of us said beforehand that Andy Ruiz is actually not a bad boxer. The problem is that trying to package him and sell him as a competitive fight because of the way that he looked was difficult. But if you watch him against Josie Parker, you watch him. He is a good fighter, but didn't envisage him to do what he did to AJ, and then to actually see exactly what happened to AJ and how I watched something the other night, and you're just seeing when he gets clipped and just the way he goes, and it's just so, everything about it is dramatic. He didn't just get hit and just drop on the floor. It's how he wobbles and how
the clambering to try and get back up.
Everything about it is dramatic, and I think when you add that to the fact of the brand that it's AJ, that's why this fight is huge. And then the fact that it was just some fat Mexican geezer, first Mexican to become heavyweight champion. He's out of shape. Don't look, casuals just looking at him thinking, has that guy beaten that guy? Everything mixed together for me makes it, without doubt, the most shocking thing that I've seen in boxing since Mike Tyson.
Joshua's come out and said it seems like he's had a complete change of mindset actually. And he's sort of gone to this ice cold killer mode.
I like it.
Like, he's come out and said, I want people to bow down to my feet or whatever if I win. And considering the sort of praise that Andy Ruiz got for his performance, he's now saying, well, the praise you've given Ruiz, if I go and knock him out, bow down to me and praise me. Is that understandable?
100%. I've seen people slagging him off for that, but then when he talks all nicey before
they say
a fight,
media
people slag him
trained.
off.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, you can't win. and he most certainly can't win. I like it because he
Do you
looks
prefer
like
this, Joshua?
yes, because he
Yeah.
looks like he's preparing for a battle. When you're going in for a war, when you're going in there knowing that there's a possibility you're getting hurt, and you're going in there with your back up against the wall, you can't go in there all smiley and chatting all nice. You've got to have that edge to you. I think he's got that edge. You know what? He's come from a background where he weren't the nicest, or he got into trouble and stuff like that. Bit of thug about him. He's got that bit of thug about him. You need that bit of thug about you. You know, when it becomes a dogfight, when it becomes hard, you need to have that bit of thugging. You need to have that bit of nastiness about you. And I like what I'm seeing, because he looks like a man that's prepared to get down and get dirty. He looks like a man that's prepared to go through whatever it takes. In the first fight, it didn't look like that kind of man. And when what was happening, it looked like man against boy. It looked like a nice guy against a killer. Do you know what I mean? This time round, it's not a front. This time, it looks like this is how his mood is. That's your mood. We have moods. And right now, his mood, for me, is the right mood. Coming in, last couple of weeks before a fight, it's the right mood. Fucking everybody's been slating him. I can't believe how people just turned against him because he's got beat. People are like, oh, AJ's this, AJ's that, fucking hell. And then all of a sudden, like, he's shit. Oh, he's shit house, this, that. Fuck off. They just wrote off all his achievements and completely slagging him off. So I understand. If you're that man and you're getting all that abuse and you're human, so why not say, alright, fucking, you're saying this man's this, and I can't do this. When I beat him, give me that respect, give me that, yeah, fucking too right.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
He didn't get, off a certain quarters, even while he was champion, he wasn't getting the respect.
No.
So for him to lose the way that he did, to then come back, and if he wins it again, he 100% he deserves it. Whether you like him or not, you have to give him the respect.
Why do you think a heavyweight like Joshua, who's come out of being an Olympic gold medalist in a home Olympics, knocked people out for fun, become heavyweight champion, had one of the most entertaining fights of the last few decades in his fight with Klitschko, why do you think that he is so disliked by a section of the British public?
You can say that about absolutely anybody.
But it seems with Joshua it's a larger section than...
Because he's a larger than life character. It's in proportion to his
Because he's so
stature.
well known. Yeah.
It's in proportion to his stature. There's everybody. So you look at Floyd Mayweather, unbeaten, fucking near on perfect boxing career. But there's a section of the public that say, oh shit, he didn't do this, he can't punch, he's this, he's that, he never fought him, he wouldn't have beaten him.
Spot on, yeah.
That's how people are. That's how people are. So then with AJ, it's this thing in Britain especially, on the way up, they build them up, build them up, build them up. Do it with footballers, do it with everybody. Build them up. And then, once they get there, you've got a nice car, it's got that. You're still the same person, or you're still doing the same
taking
sort
it
of stuff.
seriously.
But then, are you supposed to not have nice things when you get to the top? When you earn that money? Well, do you not? Does a normal person that wins lottery or whatever, do they not go out and buy nice things? People do that. But yet, then that's when people start looking at him and start saying, oh, he's changed, oh, he's this, he's that, blah, blah. From what I've seen throughout AJ's career, as money's come and gone, it's not gone, but as the money's come in, but the success has come and gone, I've never heard anything, and I've never you follow him on Instagram, you have it's little clips, Instagram's not real, but you follow little clips, you see the shit that people are doing and stuff like that. I've never looked at him and thought, fucking hell, he's letting himself go. You always see him doing something. He always looks like he's always in shape. He's always doing something, which is more than what a lot of fighters do in between fights. So you can't say that he's just fucking, he got there and just thought, fuck it. You know? Yeah, maybe some of that desire, that hunger goes a little bit, but I watched that happen with Naz. It's natural for a lot of fighters, especially from England, from Britain. When you crack it, the same intensity of preparation probably isn't there inside mentally. Probably just isn't there a little bit because you get comfortable. It's a hard thing to do. Boxing's a hard sport, and you've got to have that little bit of hunger about yourself. You've got to have that bit of a desire about you in order to keep giving it full throttle, because it's such a hard sport. It's not football. It's not tennis. You know, every single day you're going through pain. You're putting your body through pain. You know, you're eating the right foods. Your mate next to you might be wanting a kebab or might wanting a burger. You can't. You've got to stick to your. Do you know what I mean? It's very, very hard. Then you've got, if you're massively famous like AJ is, where can you go? What can you do? What can you do really? Can you just take your missus out for a meal? Can you just get a park with your kid? You can't. You can't do any of that kind of shit. So those pressures on top as well. I think these guys handle it really well. I think they handle it really well, and you know, it's just public. It's just how public are. They like to kick the boot in, no matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're on Fowler's level. Doesn't matter if you're a coach like myself or Joe Gallagher, or you know, there are people that are gonna like you, people that are gonna follow you, and people that are gonna fucking hate you and despise you, and they probably never even met you. But you're doing it. All you can do is control what you're doing. You can't control what anybody else thinks. You can't control what anybody else does. Worry about what you can control and what you're doing. And I think that's how you need to be, because you can't control the public, so you can't worry about what the public are thinking. It's just how human nature is. Look at it. If you look at not just boxing, look at football, look at politics, look at everything. Just look at your Twitter feed and look at the amount of people that are dishing out abuse to all kinds of people, all walks of life. Just look at it. It's like there's just this infestation of hate almost, and people just wanting to be negative to anybody that's doing something outside the box, really. So it's just how people are.
Life lessons with Dave Coldwell.
It's just how it is, and you can't until people are re-educated right from the start. It's just gonna get worse, because these people are like that. Their kids are gonna be like that.
Yeah,
that's how it is. If you do good in front of your kids are likely to do good. If you do bad in front of your kids are likely to do bad as well, because they're gonna learn off you. And you just watch that, and I look at stuff and I see people's profile pictures and they've got the kids with them and they're being vile and shit like that, and you just think, fucking hell, they're going to bring to it next one. It's just going to get worse and worse.
fair enough. Dave Coldwell, I believe, I mean, we could talk about loads of other stuff, but we've done, 45 minutes?
Fucking hell. I wonder how many people are still there.
No one.
About 13.
You can say what you want now.
Yeah.
No one's listening. But yeah, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just think at the moment boxing's going great. We're having great people slagging off shows and stuff. We're having some great fights, you know. Last weekend I watched 2 great fights. Alex Dilmargi against
what a pace to that fight, by the way.
Okay, what's his face? Fonseca, was it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a fight that was.
McGregor
against Farouk, brilliant fight. Before that, we've had Prograis and Taylor. We've had
Inoue in the midweek as well.
Inoue, oh my God, that was a great fight. We've had Robbie Davis and Ritson. We're getting great fights.
Even on Saturday after the Liverpool card, we've got Wilder-Ortiz. So
yeah, just enjoy it. Just enjoy
it's in
the
a good
boxing
place,
and just enjoy where we're at, because you know it's like that. It's like that. So yeah, you have some good waves, you have some bad waves. Just enjoy the wave, man.
David Coldwell, thank you for speaking to IFL TV.
Thank you.
I'm sure I'll catch up with you Saturday night.
See you Saturday.
It is special. Absolute dynamite. Oh my goodness. All we do is